get out of this notion that, you know what, as a man, you have to be manly, you have to be hard, you have to be rough and tough and don't have any emotions. I think that's like pure bullshit that gets sold. You don't, oh, you're a man, you know what, you have to be manly. You know what, you have to have a baritone voice. And you know, like you have to be like a manly baritone voice.
Welcome to the Bro Novo podcast, the podcast that models healthy communication for men, empowering them to start the journey of self-work. Now here's your host, Thomas Pierce.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to another episode of the Bro Nouveau podcast. We are here to model healthy communication for men. My guest this week is a good friend, Arya. He is truly one of the most inspirational, positive, and thoughtful people I've ever met, and I really am honored to say he's a very close friend and a brother. He moved over to the United States from India 7 years ago, knowing no one, and has built a life for himself here in San Francisco, and his story is a testament to the power of positivity and resilience and what's possible when you put your mind to something. He also offers some unique perspectives on the nature of life, coming from a more Eastern tradition, some ideas that I haven't been exposed to a ton, that I found very interesting and a useful way to maintain positivity. So with that, I'll leave you to enjoy the show, and we'll see you next Thursday on the Bro Nouveau podcast. And we're live. Arya, good evening.
Good evening, Thomas. How are you doing, buddy? It's been so long since we have met. What, like maybe a couple of weeks before?
It's been a few weeks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping on the pod. I'm excited to get your thoughts on record.
Yeah.
Because you're a very interesting person, so I'm really stoked to have you on, and thanks for doing it.
Well, thanks for those wonderful compliments, but I think that it takes a one to understand and recognize one. So yeah, you know what, you're a super exciting, wonderful, eclectic individual, and I so appreciate your company, and thanks for letting me in your life and podcast.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, cheers, man.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it, being a weirdo, eclectic.
Yeah.
You are, like I said, an extremely interesting person. I've heard you speak about a lot of different topics, society, culture, your perspectives, coming Eastern, Western culture. So let's start with kind of your background. And for the people who are listening who haven't met you or don't know you, what's the download on, who is Arya?
As you mentioned, I have a lot of exposure on the Eastern and Western, both born and raised in India, spent 23 years of my life in India. And then one sudden morning thought about moving to the US, for my studies and all. No, I was kidding. It was not a one morning because of the immigration process of the US. It takes a whole lot of paperwork and a whole lot of time to move in here, in case you didn't know. But yeah, so I studied in India. I did my bachelor's in computer science and all. And then I had always had a passion for computer science, anything regarding technology and all. And what's the best place in the world to be? It was the US, the United States. So I packed my bags. Not packed my bags. Literally, I didn't pack my bags. But yeah, like a lot of things happened. I had to give GRE and this, an exam, and came to the US to do my master's from University of Illinois. And after that, I moved to Silicon Valley, which was my dream since I was like 10, 12 years-ish, I remember, when I saw my dad got me a computer at that age. It was like, the broadband was like, used to make sound like, dee, 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 that kind of sound broadband where you hit Google and it takes like 5 minutes for the Google to, come to page.
For the G to load?
Yes, exactly, right. And I kind of remember, the first hit that I got in Google, can I search something, can I search something in there, and automatically I can see the responses coming. And I was like, oh my God, is there somebody sitting in the back knowing what I'm thinking? That was like my early impression of like, oh, there is somebody knew what I'm thinking, It was a scary thought back then. And I started researching and all like, oh, you know what? There's these two wonderful guys sitting in a different part of the world, university called Stanford, and trying to build this entire thing called search engine, and that actually sparked my passion towards computer science. So, and that actually propelled me, or, inspired me, triggered my entire enthusiasm for moving to the US. And it took, it took around 10, 15 years for the dreams to come to reality. But yeah, I made it to Silicon Valley. And the first thing that I did after moving here was go to the garage where, Sergey Brin and Larry Page actually started coding for Google.
Really?
And that was actually, like I say, it's my Mecca. It's the place of worship. People go to temples to pray to God, but I feel a lot what I am is because of the Google guys, Wow. So I went in there and I was so excited. I literally cried. I think it was like a kid in like an ice cream shop.
Is it a place you can visit still? Is it like a museum?
Yes. No, it's not a museum, but you can see the house. The house is still there. It's actually owned by Google now. So a couple of times a year they open up and show what is inside and all. But you know what? I just went to the garage. The garage was still closed. The house was there. It was just a surreal moment for me.
Is it in Mountain View?
It's in Mountain View. Yeah, it's in Mountain View. It's in within the Stanford campus.
Yeah.
It was such a moment.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that started my journey from India to the US and in Silicon Valley. And yeah, right now I work for a tech startup in San Francisco. And, I always wanted that garage kind of experience. So I also joined this startup, which had 7, 8 employees at that point of time. We were literally coding out of a garage. So I wanted to have that experience. So yeah, I joined them, and yeah, that's, I don't want to take a lot of your time on that. But yeah, that's pretty much sums up my story.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
How was it getting a master's in computer science? I mean, just off the bat, that sounds kind of daunting.
Yeah.
To someone who I'm not particularly, what's the word, analytical or, have like the science brain necessarily. I mean, so was it something you enjoyed, or was it like a bit of a grind, something you kind of just had to do as a step in the right, on the ladder?
Yeah. Good question, actually. So it's, like I always say, like when you love something so much, it doesn't appear to be a grind. Like, let's take an example of Elon Musk. He's running 5 or 6 different companies, which are actually changing the entire business and how we think. And he works like 100 hours per week. So it doesn't feel like he's working that much because he enjoys it so much. Like when you don't enjoy things, it appears to be grind. So grind is kind of a wrong word. Yeah, I say when you love something that much, it doesn't feel like to be a grind. But yeah, master's, I will say I studied bachelor's in computer science, and then I gave GRE. The GRE was pretty easy. When I was giving my GRE, I was giving my GRE, I'm like, oh my God, is this really a master's program that I'm applying to? It was only quants and English, and quants were so easy. It was like my high school maths and trigonometry, algebra kind of thing. And it was so easy, So we have masters in India also, and the exams are really, really tough. If you're doing masters in computer science, you literally have the syllabus will be whatever you have learned in bachelor's, but in GRE, it was like full on, like high school maths for us. So it was pretty interesting.
So getting in was easy. How did you find the student, your fellow students, and their competency and their intelligence? Did you feel like you were on equal footing, or were there people who were just geniuses that you were kind of overwhelmed by? Yeah. Or did you find that the quality of the student kind of reflected by the barrier to entry, which was pretty low?
No. Yeah, I will say in the master's program, actually, I didn't think this will happen, but the master's program was actually like my class was like 90-95% from different parts of the world. And it's mainly Asia,
right.
Like PhD and master's, like all Indians and Chinese, maybe like throw in a little bit of like, Middle Easterns, Iranians, couple of Europeans. So So the barrier was literally I was competing with the best of the best,
Right.
and the education, the ecosystem of both China and India are almost the same because we compete in different levels in Olympiads, in maths Olympiad, physics Olympiad. You can always see Indians and Chinese competing against each other. So we have almost the same ecosystem of education.
A familiar foe.
Yes, exactly. Familiar foe, So it was tough. It was tough. Definitely it was tough. And the good part of, the entrance in the US, I feel, is they don't only judge on the basis of marks, whatever you get, but there is like a holistic way they evaluate. Like,
right.
There is a GRE marks, and in GRE quants, what I'm getting. And then there is statement of purpose, there's letter of recommendation, what you have done in your bachelor's, and what you
what's
your years of experience. Yeah. Statement of purpose actually captures that.
Right.
I definitely say like statement of purpose is the one that got me through my university, because the cutoff for my university for GRE was pretty high. It was one of my ambitious list. So I never thought that I will get through that university because of my marks, but I think my statement of purpose was strong enough to get me through that.
What did you put down for that one?
It was a lot of,
what kind of freaking tale did you spin up, buddy? This will be rich.
Yes, I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't say this in this podcast. They will hold me accountable. Like, you lied. No, I'm just kidding. It was like statement of purpose has a very different flow. You have to tell a story. What inspired you to take up this thing? So that's the story. That's the story. Yeah, I will, everyone has to say when they're writing the statement of purpose, like straight from when you're in school, what inspired you to take up computer science, and what inspired you to follow down that path. So there should be a thin thread connecting your passion.
Right.
What they want to see is students with a lot of passion. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Are you really, really passionate towards it or not?
Are you going to bring that energy to our campus?
Yes.
Right.
That's very important. You can, even if you are a mediocre student, I feel with a lot of passion, you can actually put in that work to make it happen. If you don't have passion, if you're intelligent, it doesn't matter. You'll get lazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But how have you developed, man? So you came to the US knowing zero people.
Yeah.
You were in a hard program. I mean, so it's been 7 years now, right?
Yeah, 6.5 years. Yeah. 7 years, maybe touching. Yeah.
And so what do you think that if you could, as you reflect, and I know because you're a reflective person, as you thought about it, like, what are the biggest changes you observed in yourself from that experience? Because you're encouraging people to travel, and, so what are the things in yourself that you see that you like after this experience so far?
A lot of growth and open-mindedness, non-judgmental, like all societies, I guess. It's not the Western or the Eastern or any kind of society. I'll say, like, we tend to get judgmental of people, how they dress, what they do, and how they look, and all of these
what
things.
They do for work.
Yes.
If they're fat, if they're skinny.
Exactly. It's a very,
if their name's Arya.
No. Well, I have a very unisex name. Like Arya can be a male or a female.
Right.
I have been questioned on that a lot of times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like your full name is less.
Yes, my full name is Arya Deep, actually.
That sounds pretty masculine to me.
Yes, that's the entire word. So my name is like half Persian, half Indian. So Arya in Persian means the source. The source of the knowledge. Sorry, Arya in Persian means the knowledge, the truth, and the Deep means in Sanskrit it means the source, the light. So combined together, it means the light or source of knowledge, which purely I don't have it. I don't know why my mom and dad gave me that name, but still,
I love it. That's a big name to live up to. What's the history of that name? Why the Persian and the Hindi mix?
I don't know, to be honest. I've never asked my parents about it. You know what? Maybe I'll ask them the next time I visit to India. But Arya is not a very common name in India that I know. But yeah, maybe I'll ask them the next time. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no like lineage, like family,
the
ancestry.
I'm not sure about it, but I feel a lot of North Indians have their lineage traced back to Persia, like modern day Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and all, right? A lot of like Persian kings and queens, they settled in northern part of India. So we have a lot of like genealogy and history on the northern part of India. And if I do ancestry.com or whatever, you know what, like those kind of things, like definitely a root, you know what, my root can be traced back to ancient Persia. I feel like maybe that's the reason, you know what, they gave like, oh, you know what, you have an ancestor in Persia and then you're born in India, so let's mix and match it, kind of thing. And my beard says it all. I have a good beard, by the way.
Thick beard.
No, I'm just kidding.
You do. It's a beautiful beard.
Yeah.
So less judgmental.
Yeah. So
I'll give a theory about why that makes sense to me, and maybe you can confirm or deny it. So I would imagine, you know, maybe you have before, you know, preconceived notions of Americans, right? Or like, like Americans are going to be, you know, fat and selfish and obsessed with status, or and then you meet a lot of nice Americans. Or maybe you have expectations of like, oh, these Americans are going to be so nice. Then you meet people and they suck, you know, and it's like, oh, maybe it's impossible to know what people are going to be like, and everyone's an individual and different.
Yeah.
You know? But what do you think about that experience of coming to a country where you know no one else and making a life for yourself? Why do you think that led to a more open, or not, I guess, a less judgmental mindset?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. First of all, I had whatever impression I had of the US is from Hollywood, and they're all good looking people, you know, and I didn't even think about like Americans are like obese or, you know what, not that. I had like, oh my God, the girls are hot, the guys are hot, everyone is hot.
Everyone's hot.
Yeah. Everyone's super hot, you know, like, you know, it's guys are just running on the beach in boxers, and, you know, it's like super ripped. Girls are like all supermodels in here.
Yeah.
I definitely had preconceived notions about the society, how it behaves, and how it acts, and how it nurtures itself. But as I mixed with people, again, you know what, I'm a super, super extrovert person. You know what, I'm not the one who is gonna, you know what, stay in cocoon for a long time. So part of my process was like opening up to people, you know what, having them welcome me, having me welcome them into my lives, and getting to know from each other. You know what, that was a part of the learning process. And I feel like it's also part of the reason that I moved to San Francisco. Like I've lived in like big cities in the US, like Los Angeles or like Chicago or like San Francisco. San Francisco taught me a lot. I feel it depends also on the city that you live in. You know what? No offense to Midwest, but you know what? If you're like stuck in some rural city in Mississippi or Iowa or whatever that is, it's very hard to have that exposure.
Yeah.
You know what? And exposure is what like builds, makes, or like it is one of the things that makes people. I feel like nature and nurture matters a lot. The experience that you have. I feel like San Francisco helped me a lot to open up. You know, like,
same.
You know, like I met wonderful people. People are super, super non-judgmental in here. And I saw like, you know, like I used to think, you know what, part of the reason was I used to think like all the tech guys are super nerd. You know what, they're like coding or like studying and that's it. They have no life, you know? Yeah. And now you see me, I have like a beard and a ponytail. I'm not like a stereotypical nerd guy, right? And I feel like that kind of thing, like San Francisco taught me, you know what, like you don't have to be sticking and you don't have to follow the stereotype or be what the society wants, but you can do everything. Like you can be an entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur by day and a DJ by night, you know, a music producer in the afternoon, and you can go to a fucking sex party over the weekends. Nothing is looked down upon and everything is embraced upon. You know what? And that is so important. And I feel like San Francisco played a major role in my growing up as a person. Like I jokingly say, you know what, like if one city can embody me kind of thing, you know what, if I have an equivalent to like Arya's equivalent to a city, that will be San Francisco.
Nice, dude.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. You thrive here.
Yeah.
Likewise,
Yeah.
it definitely has made me less judgmental. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of cool. The thing about here is that I feel like the only people who get judged here are the people who are judgmental. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
Like being a normie, whatever, you know, or like being, I don't know, like there are neighborhoods where like, you know, like American kids go to college and they get like a job and like live in the neighborhood. And it's kind of like a continuation of like the American college culture.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like boo.
Like, boo. Like what are you doing? Right? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But
I feel like that example encapsulates the challenge of being non-judgmental, right? Because if like we're like giving ourselves a pat in the back for being non-judgmental, all right, I won't speak for you. If I'm giving myself a pat in the back for being non-judgmental and then make fun of people who have a different lifestyle than me, what's the like what's the point?
That's being a
like
hypocrite, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's also a hypocrite. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting, right? Like it's kind of a dichotomy.
It's a choice. I feel, you know what, like I have grown, you know what, like again, I used to judge somebody, like as you said, you know what, if you're living like a normal life, you know what, like you're not living your life kind of thing, go out and explore. But then also right now, what I have realized is that's your choice. If they don't want to open up, that's your choice. You know what? And what I say, it's their karma, maybe. You know what? There is nothing wrong in it.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, yeah, I like it.
It's a karma. You know what? Like, again, like we come to the karma. I don't know whether you believe in karma or not, but I'm not a religious person. But I believe in karma because the country, like we were talking in the evening, the country you are born determines a lot what you're going to do with your life, how you're going to lead your life, you know, and what actually determine like where you are born, because that's gonna, you know what, the family you are born in, the state you're born in. If you're born in Silicon Valley in a tech entrepreneur's house, you're good. Like your opportunity is way higher. Your chance of making it in life is way higher, even if you're mediocre. You know?
Yeah, especially here, like you said. Meaning in the U.S. specifically, compared to like a country with fewer opportunities.
Yes, you know. So the karma plays a major role. So if it's the karma not to grow, like I cannot be judgmental about that. You know what? They're missing out. I can say they're missing out a huge part of their life, of their existence. I definitely feel like every day you have to grow as a person. If you're not growing as a person, you're dead.
How do you track your growth?
You know what? Like growth can be like an incremental basis. Like when you're gymming, you're not going to feel the effect that day. But suddenly 6 months from now, you're going to suddenly feel like, oh, I have like body right now. Same with meditation, right? You're not gonna, like, you know, like if you feel that you meditate for 20 days and you get enlightened like Siddhartha Gautama, aka Buddha, it's never gonna happen. But what happens is like you're meditating. And again, and after a year, you will see there may be a circumstance like where you get super angry, but you will see that you didn't react to that. Like what happened? I didn't react to it. So I track growth as that kind of thing. You know what? If it's not, I track it every day. It shows me in different instances.
You see it in challenging situations.
Exactly. You know what? Like where I would have reacted, why would I have thought very differently? Those things doesn't happen to me. So then I'm like, okay, you know what? I have grown as a person. I have matured as a person. You know, it's not like an everyday tracker kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm very visual, and I like to see. Yeah, I like to see like tangible results. So that's kind of why I asked. But that makes sense, man. Thinking back to one's younger self and how like dealing with situations, you know, like I think about, like, I've been fired from 2 jobs in my life.
Yeah.
The first one, I was working at a Chipotle in Philadelphia, and I got fired. And I was pretty, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't react necessarily poorly.
Yeah.
But the next time I got fired, the stakes were much higher. You know, it was a job, my first job out of college.
Yeah.
It was a work I wasn't loving. I was really struggling. I was working really hard, but not getting results. And I got, like, strategically shown the door. Like, technically I resigned because they, like, played me because they didn't, you know, they didn't have to pay me, you know, severance or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, unemployment rather.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking back how I reacted. Like, I was just like, fuck it. I'm not leaving. I'm going to make it work and I'll get a new job. And it worked out. And there's a lot of, like, other reasons behind that. Yeah. You know, especially, like, me being, like, a white guy. Yeah. In the USA. Like, I'm not saying that, like, oh, my great attitude got me this job. You know, like, there are other factors, but just thinking about, like, how much growth there was between age 15 and 21 or whatever the gap was in those years. So the whole Bro Nouveau podcast, we try to give tangible ways for people to grow or be more empathetic or increase their communication skills. So like you're a very well-rounded person. I feel like you have a lot of potential kind of knowledge and wisdom to share. Yeah. So for the people listening, let's say men specifically who haven't really started that self-growth and self-work journey, but they want to, what would you kind of say to them to encourage them?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I would definitely want to share. First of all, get out of this notion that, you know what, as a man, you have to be manly, you have to be hard, you have to be rough and tough and don't have any emotions. I think that's like pure bullshit that gets sold. You're a man, you know what, you have to be manly. You know what? You have to have a baritone voice, and you know, like you have to be like a manly baritone voice, and you don't have to be in touch with your emotions. You have to be a rock stone cold person. I think, you know, my partner tells me that this is like how American man, quote unquote, they grow up in that kind of mentality,
especially where she's from. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like I feel that first, like that's the first thing that men needs to evolve as, like, hey, you can have emotions. Get in touch with your emotions. Empathy is the leading factor of what is wrong in the world right now. Empathy. If you start to feel the pain of others, and for that you need to have emotions, we're going to grow so much as somebody, I feel. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, dude. Yeah, it's massive. It's a bit of a stump. It's like a domino falling, because if I can feel empathy for you, then it's harder to judge you.
Yeah, totally.
It's harder to hold on to my preconceived notions of you. Yeah, if I can see your humanity and see your struggle, and that's why, dude, I really struggle with, like, say, like someone who is asking for money or saying they're homeless, or, you know, even if I'm jaded and I think they're lying, like, this person is still in a place of desperation, right? Like, it wasn't their aspiration to
become homeless,
be in a CVS asking for a charger, you know, like, that's even if they have a home and they're just hustling, like, I don't know. I feel the empathy, right? It's hard to, like, as I would say, I'm an empathetic person, and it can be overwhelming sometimes too, you know?
It can be, and that's why you need to draw the line. Yeah, I feel, you know what? You cannot let yourself go too much to be so much of empathic so that people can take advantage of you. That happens. That happens. That is a reality, you know? Yeah. So, you know what? Like, you don't let yourself be so much into that you get taken advantage, but also you're not so stone cold. You know what? And, so that you are not touched with your emotions after all, you know what? And that is a part of life, you know what? Like, getting to know what you're better at and how to grow yourself. I think, like, growth perspective, as we were saying, you know what? I also see empathy as a growth trajectory also, you know, like how much empathy you're harboring within yourself, you know what? And you can see the small details in and here with your relationship, with your friendship, with your partnership, whatever. I would definitely urge men to have a lot of self-care. You know what? Self-care is looked down upon. I know. And like throughout the world, I feel like self-care for men, you know what?
Right.
Like, oh, you know what? And self-care means like every detail. I'm saying, you know what? Like maybe, you know what? Like spending a day reading or having a bath. Like, why not? Taking care of your skin, going to a manicure and a pedicure. Why not? Dressing yourself, you know what? Looking yourself in the mirror and saying that, oh, you know what? I'm stylish. I'm good. I look good. Like, why not?
Seriously.
You know what? Appreciating yourself. That is very important. You know what? Like giving a pat on the back, like you did good. Like those kind of self-care. I'm talking about the self-care.
Yeah, or like telling oneself that like, I'm proud of you.
Yes.
I'm proud of you for trying today.
Exactly.
And not giving up or not giving into frustration or yeah, totally, man.
You know,
because I think too, there's part of the complication. This is a good potential discovery here.
Yeah, because
we're also pretty actively discouraged from being cocky and overconfident and selfish, right? Like where men are kind of at once told to not be in touch with our emotions, but also not to be too proud of ourselves. Yeah. So we're discouraged from looking within and also discouraged from applauding ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Applauding yourself. Yes. Why not? I feel like, you know what, appreciation, again, I say appreciation, applauding yourself should be a part of the self-care, you know, routine.
And you also have expressive outlets, photography, you make music. Yeah. You love your festivals and your awesome outfits at festivals and like, you know, concerts. Yeah. The Burn. Yeah. So you have those creative outlets. So it sounds like moving here helped you get to that expressive point, right? Because if, as I met you, and if someone listening were to meet you now, they would see this person who's very confident and calm and colorful with your clothing. Yeah. You're friendly, you're joking, you're laughing, you're not afraid to dance or be silly. Yeah. You're someone who really exudes positivity. Yeah. But what I'm hearing is that it wasn't always like that. No. And that's also cool for someone listening because there's growth potential for everybody. Yeah. Like you weren't just born like that.
No, I wasn't. You know what? Getting back, like I would definitely say I had a rough time, and it was such like I was such an. I had no confidence in me. Part of the reason was, I think, from till the age of 15. Thomas, I feel like till the age of 15, I used to fumble when I used to say my name. I used to stammer. Wow. Yes. I was such like, and I'm like, my parents took me to some doctor a couple of times and all, and they said that, yeah.
What did the doctor say?
No, you know what? Like, if I need a speech therapist and kind of thing, you know what? And doctor said that there's nothing wrong. It's fine. You know what? It may be the confidence thing, you know? Right. And like, imagine, you know what? You cannot tell your name. You're stammering like,
That affects your whole life.
It fucking affects your whole life, man. If you're stammering 3 or 4 times before introducing yourself, holy shit. Imagine what it does to a kid.
And it seeps in.
Yes.
It seeps into your body.
Exactly.
Oh.
It hurts. And kids at that age would make fun of you, right? You know that. You know what? Like,
kids are brutal.
Kids are brutal, okay? Yeah. Bullies, you know? So I was like, you know what? Yes. I would say like, you know, I used to fumble a lot. Not fumble a lot, like during, you know what? There was like some letters I would fumble, you know what? And that was solely a confidence issue. Totally. I realized it. And then I don't know what happened, you know what? Like, once I went to college, I feel like my bachelor's, I flowered. I think like I literally had to make my mind whether I'm gonna be like a backbencher or, you know what, like sleep for my entire life like that, and you know what, go through that pain, or I'm gonna rise up and just break everything. You know, I chose the latter.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And that point of time, I did everything. Part of the was like I did everything that I couldn't do. I was stammering. I was participating in debates. I used to fumble. It's fucking fine.
You forced yourself.
Yes, I forced myself. Yeah, I'll say, you know what? I forced myself again and again and again. You know what? And it was a confidence issue for sure. You know what? I realized that. And at one fine morning after a year, couple of years, I was like, oh my God, it's gone. I didn't even like recognize it. You know what? It's like an incremental progress, but it was gone.
For sure.
Yeah.
That shows up for me with, like, say, anxiety. And you know, if I'm having anxiety about something and it comes up,
yeah,
focusing on it prolongs it.
Yeah.
But just letting it be there and being like, oh, hey, it's you, my old friend, anxiety.
Yeah.
And then eventually, a few months, years, however long down the line, one day I wake up and say, oh,
yeah,
I haven't worried about that thing in months.
Yeah.
And it feels great. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. You know, on this note, I would definitely tell the listeners, like, the power of positivity. It's so damn important to have the power of positivity. And to have that, first you have to eliminate all the negativities from your life, be it your friends, be it your family, be it your partner. Like, literally, I'm saying, because you are actually the summation of 5 people you hang around with. You know, if your friends are literally breeding grounds of negativity, just be alone. You can do better. I'm saying, you know, literally, you know what? I will definitely say be neutral rather than negative.
100%.
You know, be a neutral rather than being negative.
Because then once you surround yourself with positive influences, you're going to rise up.
It's so much the power. I have served, like, as you know, I'm a super positive person. It wasn't like that. Again, you know what? But I've realized throughout my experiences, I've realized the power of positivity. It's something in the air that literally lights you up. And you will light up everyone around you. Everyone around you. Because it is a hardcore truth. You and me, none of us are getting out of this alive. Right?
Right.
So there is nothing to be negative about. Everything comes in circle.
Yeah.
You know, it's so...
And that sounds like the more Eastern mindset.
Yes.
The reincarnation, you mentioned karma.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm not a super religious person, but I have been, like, raised in a very spiritual household. And, you know, I know religion and spiritual are considered almost the same in the Western culture, kind of, but it's different in San Francisco. I know. But yeah, like, spirituality is very different. And a lot of Eastern spirituality, I have been, like, raised with the ethos of Hinduism and Buddhism, actually. So a lot of those,
interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of those philosophies revolved around, like, you know what? It's fine. You know what? Things will get better. You know what? You have to hold on. Since you have enjoyed the light, there will be a little bit of darkness. And again, it will be a light. It is the circle of life. And so you have to hold on to it. Be positive about it. Like, everything is about positivity, harboring positivity. You know what? There's a lot of people, I think, in here, oh, you know what? Like, since you're, like, enjoying positivity, you know what? You should also, quote unquote, enjoy the negativity of life. I'm not on that school of thought. Even in negative times, you can be super positive. You have to have your mind cultivate or train in such a manner you can be a positive person. There is nothing in the world that's negative. If you go at a bird's eye view, we're just like small actors in this realm of life. 60, 70 years is literally a fraction of a second in the universe's lifetime. We are nothing, you know? Like, and we have so much of big egos. Half of the things, like, why do we get negative about it? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, like, why do you get negative about it? Oh, you know what? Your girlfriend dumped you. Your boyfriend dumped you. Oh, your boyfriend didn't treat you. Whatever, you know what? Like, your company and this and that. At a broader sense of term, you have a life. You have a healthy life. And you're living it. You're breathing it. You're enjoying this beauty of nature. You're enjoying this beautiful human creation where you can breathe, you can feel, you can emote. There are so many wonderful things that you can see and feel and smell with your 5 wonderful senses. So why be so negative about it? Even if something has happened in your life, I'm not saying it has not, but if you put yourself up, like, like zoom out at a bigger scale, there are so many wonderful things to enjoy. And I feel that people should actually, like, instead of seeing the glass half empty, they should see the glass half full kind of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
And some people are just chemically wired where they can't.
Meditation.
You think so?
Yeah. The power of meditation. There is one thing that can treat everything internal: meditation. And I'm not saying, again, I'm going to bring back not a California style yoga and meditation. Period. Please, listeners, don't get into spiritual bypassing. Please, please, please. Taking acid in the morning and doing yoga at nighttime, or yoga in daytime and acid in the morning, it's not going to solve you any purpose in life. Nothing. Yes. Buddha didn't get enlightenment just by popping acid. Okay, so I have been practicing meditation for over 7-8 years. I can totally attest to the fact that, as Thomas said, I go to a lot of music festivals, a lot of music festivals, and I do every festival clean. Even Burning Man, I do clean. Clean means I don't take alcohol, I don't have any drugs, and I feel the exact same thing that people feel.
And you remember every single moment.
Exactly. So that's the point. You know what? You have to feel the experience as it is presented in the nature. You know what?
That's a great point, man. That is one of the things I admire the most about you, is that you are largely abstinent from all substances.
Yeah, I am.
Like, we might have had like 1 or 2 beers, or 1 or 2 cocktails, like in 3 years.
Yeah. But still, we had a wonderful time, right? Every
so
time.
Much fun.
Yeah.
We laugh our asses off. We act like we're drunk.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what happens when you're high on life. You don't need to get high on anything. This is what I believe. And this is what the power of meditation brings in. Mm-hmm. Power of spirituality, meditation brings in. That high on life. You can literally get stoned, quote unquote, stoned on life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so are you a naturally depressed or anxious person? And have you come through that with meditation? Because that's just my quantifying or my qualifying questions, because some people chemically wired are depressed. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like, because I've had this conversation and I've met people along the way and I'm like, oh, the power of positivity. And they're like, you're such a jackass. Like, you don't know what my life is like. Yeah. With this crippling anxiety. And you know what I mean? So I've just been kind of like checked on that. So I'm kind of curious to hear, I agree with you, or in theory, I hope so, but I also have empathy, right? For people who maybe their brains aren't. And then also the counter argument is like, medicated generation, pills and doctors who make money off of medicating kids. And I know it's complicated.
Yeah, it gets complicated because, again, we get into the American healthcare system, which is big time. Fuck you. I work in insurance tech, so I know, what, it's a vicious cycle between like hospitals and doctors and medical companies. And, it's, again, we are not getting into that. Again, it's a part of nurture, I feel, So if you're nurtured, when you're born, if you're nurtured in a certain manner, you automatically get into the groove of having a healthy lifestyle. If from the beginning you are say that have your greens, when you're born with a clean slate, right? Totally a clean slate.
Unless not necessarily.
Yeah.
If your mom had bad nutrition and she was in a house with cigarette smoke and addicted to drugs, you're not really born clean. But anyway,
I'm saying the habits. Those are habits. You don't pick up those habits, right?
Right.
You don't pick up those habits once you're born. I'm just saying, like, when you're born, if you go through a healthy lifestyle, you know what? If your parents are not, you know what, having like soda every day, or like, KFC's chicken every day, and having greens every day, no sugar kind of diet, you know what? You will automatically be attracted to those things. This is by human nature. This is like 101. You know what? There are some things that genetical. I'm not saying, you know what? But you cannot blame genetics throughout your life and live your life like that.
No, you can't.
You cannot, right? You can better it. I'm saying, okay, you know what? You have been genetically, okay, you know what? Genetically or family-wise, it is there, some things in there. And I'm not, you know, knowledgeable enough to discuss about those things because I haven't done my research. But you cannot blame it. Like, I feel a lot of people blame on like, oh, I had bad parents. Oh, I have a bad genetics. Oh, I was born in a bad family. You're going to live your life just making excuses, or you're going to actually work hard trying to get better. I'm not saying 100% eradication, but maybe you reach like 50%.
For sure.
You know what? And that's the power of...
there are still things that anyone can control.
Exactly.
You
You know what?
Yeah, exactly. The inputs.
Yes.
The only thing we control is ourselves. We can't control other people. We can't control life, the weather, opportunities. Yeah. It's like such a cliche. You know, you can't control what happens to you, only how you react to it.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's super true.
And I like hate that it's true because it's so cliche, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't hate that it's true. It's great that it's true. It just becomes so like worn, you know.
It's, you know, again, I feel that it has been built in by the society that you cannot retrain yourself. I have seen people from nothing become
That's a great
everything. Yeah. You know, like it's been like built up by society that you cannot be more. You know what? You are mediocre. You cannot grow as an individual. You know, the entire education system in the US has been actually modeled into making factory workers. It is not modeled on people getting education. You know, those uniforms are 6 to 9. Those are actually factory worker thing. So from childhood, you train someone to become a factory worker, not use your mind. And this is like not from the US. I feel in India or like throughout most of the world, I feel like Europe is doing better job, like Finland education system and all, they're doing better job in actually piquing the interest in kids. But I feel most of the world is actually, you know what, made on the basis of like when you churn out factory workers, you don't question.
No.
You just fucking follow.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, the common theme of everyone I've talked to on this program is that everyone has been seekers.
Yeah.
And just not accepting things as they are and not accepting the status quo and having the mindset of this can be better. This life can be better.
Yeah.
Why are we just accepting this?
Yeah.
You know,
there is no reason to accept it. And even if this has been a system for 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, doesn't matter. It's good. You know, we didn't reach here just by following the status quo. If the first person, you know what, like 50,000, 60,000, whatever million years back, he was like making fire and he thought that, okay, I'm good. You know what, since I've gotten fire, I'm living in cave, having sex and eating food. That's good. We wouldn't have reached talking in here, right? So nothing happened. Like things happen when people break the status quo. And it's happening in Silicon Valley. We are sitting in I can talk from the technology point of view that the last 20 years we have grown so much because every company or every entrepreneur or every person has tried to break the status quo. Like, I'm not going to fucking do what the society wants me to be. I'm not going to fucking go by the system or the rules of the book. I'm going to fucking break it. I didn't reach in here by, you know what, like leaving the status quo. I'm no one in here. But I took a decision, a conscious decision to move all the way, rip my life and move all the way 10,000 miles and do my own thing. That's like a very small example. So you have to break the status quo. You have to push yourself. You have to, you know what, grind. You have to hustle. You have to like go out of your comfort zone. Then only you can flourish. Not only from a job or like job or work perspective, as a person, I'm just saying, as a person, if you want to see yourself grow, you have to do that.
And it's also accessible on the micro level.
Yeah.
When you think about the analogy of rehabilitating an injury, you have to train the small muscles in the ankle again and stabilize them before the wider leg can become stable again.
Yeah.
Someone also doesn't need to leave the U.S. and move to India necessarily.
No.
There are all kinds of decisions we make every day.
Yeah.
Like for me, I've been trying to incorporate more moments of resistance every day. So if I have the urge to drink a cup of coffee, say no. The urge to check my phone, say no.
Yeah. I feel a part of I am in tech and like I am super into
Wait, you are?
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know that.
No. Instant gratification. You know, that's a part of the problem.
Toxic,
yeah, that is toxic. A part of the reason the American society, I see a lot of people depressed and anxious in here is part of the reason of instant gratification. People don't want to build something. You know what? And because tech is coming up, you need a food, you will get it in 3 minutes. Or you need an Uber, you'll get it in 2 minutes. You need a date, you'll get it in like a swipe. Like every app or every part of technology is built on the part of instant gratification. Like you don't have to work towards it, you know? And that's what happens. And that's why people get anxious about it. Like, let's say you swipe a Tinder and you meet a girl and you're not putting in the effort to understand that person. You know what? Like you have to put in an effort to know somebody. Somebody's not customized for you. You know what? That's never going to happen. It's not a software you can, you know what, put in pieces and make the person, right?
And you have to, and I've observed with the dating, especially, is like, if you go on a date with somebody, there's no way to guarantee a chemistry. But if you meet someone in person, you both know within 30 seconds if there's a mutual attraction.
Yeah.
And instead of like going on an app where you have to go through all the steps, arrange it, meet up, and then if you don't like each other in the first 30 seconds, you're stuck for an hour, and then you're somebody's stuck with a bill. Yeah. You know, it's like oh, I just paid to waste my time. Like, great.
It's like I feel like coming to dating apps. I feel these are a wonderful way to meet people. You know what? Like personally for me, I feel like since I'm from India, I don't have like a huge network in here, like schools and this and that. Like I went to school in the Midwest, which is, which is a very different.
It promptly left.
Yeah, it's from left, right? So, but
the Illini couldn't hold you.
Yeah, totally. It cannot. It's wonderful to meet people, but again, to know somebody, you have to spend some time and build something. I feel like the building part is missing a lot in the culture of instant gratification. And that is causing a lot of anxiety among the youth or, millennials in our generation. It's causing a lot of pain and suffering because people are not ready to put in the hard work. Again, you have to put in the hard work in your work, in your self-care, in your life, in your partnership, in your relationship, every kind of ship that sails. I'll say that.
Whoa. What a line. Did you make that up?
Yeah. On the go, maybe.
That's gold, baby.
Any kind of ship that sails needs to be put in an effort. Yeah.
All right. Well, us blabbermouths, we're burning daylight here, so let's pivot to the 3 things game.
Oh, yeah.
Your birthday is sooner, so here's your question.
Oh, wow. What are the 3 things you have learned from men?
Nice question.
Ooh, well, that's men, yeah. Men, better be woman, you tell me. What are the 3 things you've learned from men? First of all, there is this concept that men don't have emotions. There's a very general concept. In here in the US, I feel, even in India also, I feel a lot of when people are like, guys don't have any emotions. I feel that is not true. Maybe it's, maybe that's a minority, but we definitely have emotions in us and we are trying to better ourselves just give us that opportunity. Like, because of the society and how, society has nourished or cultured or cultivated us for centuries, we have been taught to become harder. But I feel like every man has a little bit of emotion in them, but they're
the feminine.
Yeah, the femininity, it's just a time to nurture and get it out with. But like you, Thomas, I feel with your background, you played football, rugby, right? Rugby. And those are stereotypical, like strong men, like bros, like that kind of thing. Like, I'm a bro, and just to get together. But I've seen a very different part of you. For the last 4 years that I know you, that I have seen a very different part navigate from what you were and how you're navigating, and you're getting in touch with your emotional side. It's wonderful to see that. And I feel that you are like an quintessential example of even the tough person can actually be in touch with their inner being.
For sure, man. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, for sure. It's valuable, and that's what I'm trying to normalize here to make it okay. Yeah. Well said, man. Here's my question. What are 3 things I've learned about family? I really miss my family. I've learned it's hard to be away from family. I know you know that. And I would say, secondly, family for me and my family, each of my immediate family. So I have a mom, I have a dad, and I have 2 siblings. Yeah. And each of them is a reflection of me, some part of me. Yeah. And all of those pieces of all 4 of them make up who I am in a lot of ways.
That's wonderful.
And that's tough too, because there are parts of them I don't like. Yeah. There are parts of them that frustrate me and scare me and all of those things. And that's kind of crazy, but it's a beautiful thing, because I've met a lot of people who aren't particularly close to their families. Yeah. And I just hope that no matter what happens, we don't ever lose that. Yeah. In my family. And then number 3, family can be made, man. It doesn't have to be blood. Yeah. I consider you my family, for example. We're very close friends. I know we're going to be friends the rest of our lives.
The rest of our lives, yeah.
And I have that same thing with other buddies, and my high school friends were like seriously brothers. Yeah. And that's cool. Like, and that's the other, maybe like the other redemptive factor is that, for those people whose families suck, you can make your own. Yeah, totally. Either like literally like having your own, meeting a partner and having kids and stuff, or just like chosen family, friends that become family. So we got we got, again, it's a society thing. I feel, like we got the concept of family wrong. Like for us, families like, oh, you need to have like a blood connection. Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah. I think anyone who understands you, appreciates you for who you are, shows up in times of despair, builds your family. For sure. It doesn't need to be bloodline. Agreed. Yeah. And that, like, I have built my entire family the past 6 years, and I can bank on the fact that, yes, like people will show up given when I am in terrible danger or desperate, and you don't have to be a bloodline, I feel. Yeah. Amen, bro. Well, Arya, you're a legend, man. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're
for a wonderful conversation as always. Is there anything you want to promote? You have any like your art, your music, your GitHub?
No, man. Oh, GitHub. Wow. What is Thomas getting into coding now?
Tech guy. Who's this tech guy?
It's nothing, I feel like, I don't have anything to promote, to be honest. Just a simple guy living a simple life, trying to
think big. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, no. I don't have anything major to share, but I'll definitely say to all the listeners, be positive. Like, positivity can take you places you won't even imagine. Be positive, work hard, aim big. I don't like the word dream. You know what? Because dream is what you do in your sleep. Aim is what you achieve. So don't say dream big. I feel like always aim big.
Do it big.
Yeah, do it
Just
big.
do it.
Yeah. Power of positivity. I will always say power of positivity. You can achieve anything you want. And you know what? And
Amen.
yeah. Well, Thomas, it was super nice talking to you. You know what? You've always been a great friend and brother. I think you're more than a brother than a friend for me. You know what? I always...
Cheers, man. Likewise.
You know what? We will be through thick and thin, you know? Yeah. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast. And hopefully, you know what? You will do a round 2 when you are like super popular. Like,
for sure.
Like a Joe Rogan kind of popular, you know? And hopefully you'll not forget me by then.
Yeah. Give it a few years. We'll get there.
Yes, totally.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.